Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Um, I have a presentation which should run around for 15 minutes, and then I will be more than happy to take your questions and maybe learn from you also. So, as Rajiv mentioned very nicely, that we can have great ideas, we can have brilliant ideas, but not all ideas result in enterprise. So today we are going to see a little bit about what does it make to see that idea go into an enterprise. So here is the presentation. So topics I'm going to cover is the idea and about the validating the idea, the feedback loop, and we'll go to one of the case studies, some case studies from actually what happened in high tech and how I learned from that. And in the last there will be key takeaways. These three companies. How many of you have heard about these three companies? Anybody? None. I cannot see any hand. And this one. All. So what's the difference between Facebook and the other three companies? All started with same idea, with a similar kind of idea, connecting friends. And we all know Facebook is what Facebook is today. And the other three companies probably lost in oblivion. So nothing. So just to reinforce, Facebook, not all ideas lead to great enterprise, and there is a lot more that needs to make those ideas happen. Now, you think you have got a great idea, and that could be anything. There could be hundreds and thousands of those ideas. And it could be like, the competition is there, a lot of competition is there, as you mentioned, and it could be a restaurant outside, just nearby. It could be like in the diamond industry. So you could have great ideas. Now, what you need to first ensure is just see how many ideas. There could be so many ideas. Are you thinking really like a fox, where there are too many things in your mind, and you are thinking to do too many things at the same time? Or you are thinking like a hedgehog? Arjun, thinking just for the aim. So there is an ocean of ideas, so you have to first start thinking like a fox or a hedgehog. What do you think would be the right thing to do? When you're starting a journey, you're thinking like a hedgehog or a fox? Like a hedgehog. Lovely. You start thinking like a fox, but then you have to boil down to one idea. Then you become very focused towards that idea. So you can be foxy in the beginning. You can think that, okay, I have this, I can do this thing, I can do this thing. There is a huge market for that. There is a great potential for this. But then you have to really focus down to that one, or could be two, not more than that. I would not recommend focusing on more than one or maximum two ideas at a time, because it just requires too much energy, too much of focus on that particular thing to concentrate on more than one idea. And once you have got that idea, you really want to ensure that whether is it really a right idea for you? That's very important. Because there are thousands and thousands of great ideas, and one idea which is great for me might not be great for Rajiv, or might not be great for you. So really you have to see that it's got a great idea, it's got a great market, but is it really a great idea for you? And what is that? So you need to see really, have you got the passion? Have you got the passion for that idea? Does it address the pain areas? Does it address the pain areas of the customers? It should really address some pain areas. And does it drive your economic engine? Really speaking, at the end of making an idea successful, what do you want out of this? You want to have a highly profitable company, you want to have a big top line, and maybe not a hugely profitable company, or you want to run an NGO. Whatever it is, you have to see you have to be very clear what is your economic engine. And really speaking, you have to see that the right idea is the combination of all these three. So, once you have got the right idea and you feel that, okay, it's the great idea to pursue and make it an enterprise, first validate, first ensure that it fits in these three criteria. Because if it does not fit in these criteria, then you are likely to face more difficulties down the road. And now you have to imagine, once you have got that right idea, you are in the maze of this, what is uncertainty. Now the uncertainty starts. Once you have got the right idea, so you have to really, once you have got the right idea, you have to realize that I am going to work in a tremendous amount of uncertainty in the market. I have to really, what I have to do is validate my idea. Because without validation, it's not going to work. And who is going to validate? Your customers. You might have done a lot of research in finding out the right idea, but as you go along the journey, as you start building a product or developing a service, you have to validate the idea to really see that, yes, this idea is workable in the market. You need to have that set of customers who can really validate that, yes, it's something which is really useful. Because a customer, your market research might say that, yes, there is a great demand for it, but when it actually comes to market, you might be in for a surprise. So you have to do business case, you have to gather opinion, measure, and keep on seeing that whether this idea is workable or not. And then you are reasonably certain, once your customer approves that, yes, it's going in right direction, it is really helping me, it is addressing my pain area, it's helping your economic engine, it's addressing your passion, it's driving your passion, then you say that, okay, yes, you have found the right idea. And then starts the difficult part. Now, once you have validated that you have got the right idea, which is right mix of everything, then starts the big thing. So you start developing that thing with a greater vigor. You start building what is a product, or it's a service, or it's a hiring team, or whatever you want to do for that, you start doing that. You start proceeding to that plan. And during that plan, a very important, just that now you have started building it, the idea is validated, doesn't mean again that it's going to be a success. Every time you reach a smaller milestone, in the earlier session, there was talk about, the gentleman talked about smaller successes. So every time you get a smaller success or a smaller failure, you have to really measure it. So as the failure comes, you have to really see that, okay, this failure is actually helping me in building a successful enterprise. Now, whether you take that failure as a demotivational part, or you really take that failure as a way to learn new things, to really analyze the root cause of the problem. You dig down to the root cause, why it happened, what it caused, what I can do to eliminate that problem. That would be the key to success. And In my personal journey, while starting this enterprise, I mean, just to give an idea, I mean, this enterprise was started somewhere around 99. The enterprise where it is, the one which I am referring to, that was started in 99, and now it's currently around 700, 800 employees and worldwide operations. So just to give you a feel, so during this process of 14, 15 years, there were tremendous amount of failures. I mean, it just happens every other 6 months, every other 3 months. So it really boils down to how well you can analyze that failure, how well you can learn from that failure, how well you can put an alternative plan to it and alter your concept or alter your product or alter your service to suit to their need. So really speaking, it's then about iteration. Now, how fast? So this actually completes the loop, actually. You keep on building, you keep on measuring, you keep on learning, and then you alter your concept, you alter your product, and then come back to the market. So that would be the key loop that would define how much you can accelerate that path. That would really define how well whether that idea would develop into an enterprise. Now we'll see what were the challenges that I faced while during this journey. So these are 2 case studies. So really speaking, this company I founded in '92. As was mentioned, when it was just straight out of the college, we were running a project, and we thought that, okay, that's a great project, and so many people showed great interest about it, so let's try and start marketing that product, and it will turn to be a big enterprise. So that was in '92. And another case study which I am talking about is '99. That didn't develop. The '92 idea did not develop. And actually, ultimately, that part was to be shut down around '98. And the second one is about was something related to outsourcing services, which I started in '99, and that has now developed into a big, decent enterprise with 800 staff. So these were the 2 ones, 1992 and '99. 1992, I was thinking like a fox. Okay, great. There is software development which we can do, which is computer education, software products, all things. Let's do it. I had done my computer engineering, so I thought that, okay, technology would be a great thing, something related to computer would be a great thing. Software was in thing at that point of time, so let's do this. I was thinking like a fox. In '99, I was thinking very clear. It has to be outsourcing services, just one thing, no other business, no education, no customized development. So that was one thing that I learned in this period of 5, 6 years from '92 to '97, '98, that I have to think like a hedgehog, a very focused thing. You should think of you should be very focused in what you want to achieve. Trying too many things is spreading yourself too thin. Second is how you are positioning yourself in the market. So you might have a great idea. So that idea, whom you are going to address, who are going to be your customers, how they are going to pay, what are their expectations. So that's important thing to really analyze, and whether all of those things would really drive your economic engine. In '99, it was with a very clear USP, the outsourcing services. Okay, that what we are telling to customers is, we will be focusing on totally Western countries, not to Indian market. The first one was we were not sure whether it is Indian market, whether it is US market or Europe market. This time, 99, it was very clear that we were focusing not in the Indian market, but in the US and European market, and our USP is clear that at least 50% savings on your cost. So it was a very clear picture. And in 2014, as we move along, we have changed, not yet changed or modified, altered that concept that we will be now working within the niche domains only, within that niche domains which can provide that technological expertise. We'll be just providing, doing that only with a clear USP of, earlier it was cost, now the USP is specialization. That we are the specialist in certain domains, in certain domains in that particular industry. So you need to have a very clear focus what you want to do. And as we realize that customers are now looking for more and more specialization, cost always remains a criteria, but they are looking for more and more specialization. So we altered our original concept, our USP of cost, and moved to more towards specialization. So learning is a constant process. Now, it's very important that during startup, when you are starting, when you have an idea and you are building up, you have the right leadership. Okay? In 1992, I was coming straight out of the college, hardly any experience, hardly guidance, and hardly capital. Big problem. It was just the passion. It was just the passion that, yes, I can do it. Doesn't work. You need to have the right leadership in place. Leadership in terms of experience, in terms of guidance, in terms of helping you along the way that how you are going to achieve it. These are the experiences of the guide should be there to tell that no, what you are trying to do is not going to work, even if you have great idea. So leadership is important. What kind of leadership you have? In 99, I myself had 20 years of experience, but that's not all actually. Yeah, in 99, I had myself 10 years of experience, and I had another couple of persons, each with 5, 7, 10 years of experience. So really speaking, 20, 30 years of collective experience we had got. And so things were pretty, much better as compared to 92. And in 2014, now obviously we have a larger management team, and we have more than 100 plus years of collective experience. We have processes, controls built in over it. But really speaking, that happens when you are beyond a certain threshold limit. These processes and controls really are not needed in the startups. It works more like a family business. It's more like work like a family rather than working more on the processes and control. But as you grow, all these things come into picture. Investments and cash flows, almost no capital. And doing product development. Now, product development is a huge in capital intensive business, which I never realized that it's going to be that capital intensive. So it was just the passion to really make it happen that drove me. But really speaking, capital is absolutely essential. You really need to make your plan clear that for the next 2-3 years, if your product is going to succeed or going to fail or you are going to alter, because business plan can go wrong. You don't need to have like strong built business plan. They are likely to go wrong. You need to be flexible. So really speaking, you should account for that 2, 3, 4 years of, not 4 years, but at least 2, 3 years of capital, that how you are going to continue for that much period of time. In 99, we had decent capital reserves built over last 6, 7 years from different things, low invest, and what we were trying to do actually is not product development. It was services, and that didn't require a lot of investments. So it was a low investment business, and capital requirement was not that intense. And I would say we were a little bit lucky actually that the idea that we got into didn't require that much capital. And in 2014, now we have got sufficient capital reserves and debt-free organization and positive cash flows. So key takeaways: identify that right mix of passion, focus on one idea or two, validate the idea extensively, invest in right leadership, make sufficient provision for capital, and keep measuring the result and keep improving. And okay, always monitor the bottom line. So this is all I wanted to say, and I wanted to end with this quote: I failed over and over again in my life. That is why I succeed. Failures are the most important. Thank you.